Hello, and welcome to your Yoga for Emotional Release. Today, we're going to be focusing on poses that involve the hips and the shoulders. So, these parts of the bodies have a tendency to hold and carry stress, not only physical stress, but emotional stress. So, the aim of today's class is to get into the hips and the shoulders. Open them up, bring in some movement and some energy flow into the body so that the body can work through those energy centers and release that emotional energy that is stored within the body. So we'll be doing pigeon pose today if you're familiar with pigeon, opening up the hip, also a shoulder socket rotation so we can get right into the shoulder, and also fish pose, which will have us lying on the floor, passively opening up the chest, bringing the shoulders out onto the back and releasing that energy through the chest. But first, we'll get settled in shavasana. So lay on your mat, flat on the back. Legs are long. The arms are resting by the body, palms facing up. The head and neck are straight. Back of the head resting on the mat. Taking the time here to make any adjustments to the body so that the body can completely relax here in Shavasana. The aim of Shavasana is to allow the body to remain completely still so that the body can relax, but also the mind can focus on drawing itself inward so that it is not distracted by the body. So taking any last adjustments here and lying completely still in Shavasana. Bringing the awareness inside by beginning to mentally count back from 27 with the breath. So as you inhale, 27, exhale, 27. Inhale, 26. Exhale, 26. Inhale, 25. Exhale, 25. Continuing on with your own breath. If you lose count, counting again back from 27. And now, wherever you are with mental counting, beginning to release the practice, coming back into the body, beginning to wake up the body by wiggling the toes, the fingers, gentle movement in the ankles and the wrists. And if it feels good for you, bringing the arms overhead for a big full body stretch. Bringing the arms back down by the sides of the body. And coming up into a seated position. You can come into sitting cross-legged. You can sit on the knees. You can also sit on a cushion. I should also mention I do have a bolster and a block here today for the practice. So if you have these props, it's a really nice practice to use them. If not, you can always use a pillow, or if you'd prefer not to use props, they are not necessary. So whatever works for you. We're going to be first coming into shoulder socket rotation. So bending the arms, bending at the elbows, bringing the hands to touch the top of the shoulder. Now we're going to draw circles with the elbows. Now first we'll go in a forward motion. So as you inhale, drawing a circle with the elbow up to 12 o'clock, inhaling on your way up. And as you exhale, drawing the rest of that circle to 6 o'clock. That's one rotation. Inhale, bringing the elbows up to 12 o'clock. As you exhale, drawing the elbows down to 6 o'clock. That's two rotations. So as you inhale, you're inhaling the elbows upward, and as you exhale, you're circling downward. So continuing that with your own breath for 7 more repetitions. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Really focusing the awareness on that breath to movement coordination. This is going to help you really draw in a nice amount of breath and also really utilize this movement for the maximum benefit. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And when you've finished, bringing the hands, the arms down by your side, perhaps resting the hands on the knees. And just taking a moment here to tune back into the body. Seeing if you can't notice something within the shoulders, the upper body. When you're ready, bending the elbows, bringing the hands back onto the shoulders, and doing this movement now in the opposite direction. So inhaling up to 12 o'clock, exhaling down to 6 o'clock. Inhaling up and exhaling down. 8 more times with your own breath. Really focusing the attention on the breath to movement coordination. And when you've finished, bringing the hands back to rest on the knees, bringing the awareness to the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little shrug and movement up and down if that feels good for you, shaking out any last little bit of energy that might have been kicked up in there. Next we'll be coming into pigeon pose. I will also show a modification for this in the event that pigeon pose is not accessible or just not your style. So if you have a bolster or a pillow, bringing it to the end of your mat. Coming into a tabletop position by grounding the hands and the knees into the mat. As you inhale, bringing the right knee to the right hand and bringing the right foot over towards the left hand. So the right calf is across the mat, not horizontal. There is some an angle between the leg and the mat. I'm beginning to sink into the left hip. Now, this might feel good for you, and this might be where you want to stop. Opening up in the right hip and also in the left hip by these different positions that we are in. If you'd like, pull that pillow or bolster in, and you can drape the body over top of the cushion. Now this is more passive. Or if these poses both do not resonate with you, coming back onto the back. Both feet are planted on the mat. Lift up the right foot and bring the right ankle over the left knee. You can stay here again, or bring that right hand onto the right knee or underneath the right knee onto the thigh and push that right thigh away. You can also come up and grasp the hands in between the legs, clenching the left thigh with the hands and drawing that left thigh into the body. So whatever variation works for you, coming into that now and hanging out there for a few moments so that we can really allow the benefits of this posture to release that energy throughout the hips. Now, wherever you are, getting ready to come out of the pose that you are in. If you're lying on the mat on your back, gently bringing that leg, that right foot off of the left leg and bringing it down onto the mat and extending the legs out long. Now, if you are in pigeon, coming back up onto the hands and shifting the weight over onto that right hip, right buttocks, and swing the left leg out in front. Now, if it feels comfortable for you, you can bring that right leg out to meet the left and just give the legs a little shake here. Wherever you are, taking a moment to notice the body, notice the hips, perhaps noticing the difference between how the right hip feels and how the left hip feels. What sensations here can you notice? And now getting ready to come into the other side. So if you are choosing to lie on the back, lying on the back, bringing the left ankle over onto the right knee. If you're coming into pigeon, coming into tabletop once again by bringing the hands and knees onto the mat. Bringing that left knee up towards the left hand and the left foot up towards the right hand. Beginning to sink down, bringing that right foot back behind you, sinking into the hips. Now, if this feels good for you, bracing the body up with the hands, then stay there. You can also come down to the elbows. If this isn't passive enough for you, you can bend the elbows on the mat and hold the head in the hands. If the body permits it, you can also come down onto the mat by folding the forearms on top of one another and resting the head on the forearms. However, if you have a bolster or a pillow, feel free to bring that in, draping the body over top of it and coming into sleeping pigeon. No matter what position you are in, seeing if you can't find some ease and passiveness in the pose. Focusing the awareness also on breathing in the breath fully. If the awareness wanders off, no worries. When you notice it wandering off, just mindfully bringing it back to breathing deeply. Wherever you are, beginning to prepare for coming out of this position. If you are lying on the back, bringing that right foot onto the mat, extending the legs long. If you are in pigeon, coming up so that you are supporting the body with the hands. And gently rolling back onto that left hip and buttocks, bringing the right leg up, out in front of the body. Extending both of the legs, giving the legs a little shake, rotating the ankles if that feels good for you. And taking this moment to once again bring the awareness into the hips, tuning into the body to see if you can't notice the sensations or the difference within the hip area. Getting ready now to come into our final pose, fish pose. So this pose can be done with or without a prop. First, I will demonstrate how it can be done without a prop. So sitting up with the legs long on the mat, leaning back and bringing the elbows onto the mat to support the body. From here, you will simply bring the head back so that the elbows are supporting the upper body and opening up the chest. Bringing the head back so that the chin is pointing up towards the sky. Feeling the opening throughout the chest. Staying here, or if you have a block that you would like to use, bringing the block onto the mat. If this is a newer pose for you, bringing it onto the shortest setting. Bringing it in between the shoulder blades. Now coming back down onto the elbows, positioning the shoulders above the block and gently lowering the body over the block, draping the upper body over it, allowing the chest to open and allowing the head to rest on the mat. The arms, if you're using a block, are out at the side of the body, outstretched from the body, so that the shoulders can fully open. And wherever you are, finding ease in this pose. Focusing the breath on full inhalations and exhalations. Perhaps you're able to focus the mind on an area of the body, focusing that on the chest. If the focus wanders, no worries, just noticing that and bringing the awareness back to the breath or back to that chest. When you're ready, preparing to come out of this pose. So if you're using a block or a prop underneath the shoulders, bringing the elbows underneath of the shoulders once again. As you exhale, lifting the body up, being mindful of the neck and head, supporting the body in those elbows, and coming back up into a seated position. You can leave the legs out long or cross them, coming into a cross-legged position. And taking a moment to just be here. Allowing the body to settle in. And enjoying and noticing the effects of that last pose on the shoulders and the neck. Moving the block away if you have a block on the mat, and making your way back down into shavasana. Bringing the body to lie flat on the mat, arms out by the side of the body, palms facing up. Preparing to relax the body once again. Feel free to utilize these poses or come back to this class if the hips or shoulders are in search of more release. You know your body, so giving the body what it needs. Breathing in fully into the belly, bringing the breath up into the chest, up into the base of the neck, and slowly breathing out in the opposite direction. Breathing fully through the belly, up into the chest, through the base of the neck, exhaling through the neck, down the chest, and out of the belly. Utilizing this breath 2 more times. And staying here in shavasana for however long you would like. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this class felt really supportive. Take what you need. If you need to come back to release the hips or the shoulders even more so, please do that, listening and honoring your body today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.